Hello, everyone. Are we live? Can you hear us and see us? Please type in the comments so we make sure that we don't have any technical issues today. I'm waiting for the comments. Before we see some comments here in the chat box, I'd like to say welcome, everyone. It's my colleagues Nikolina and Tara and I that will hold these retail talks. Nikolina and Tara are actually legal consultants and country specialists at Fiscal Solutions. They also work on our fiscal portal daily, which is our online fiscal library for 20 fiscal countries. So I'm pretty sure that today we will get a lot of quality information. And of course, I will let them to introduce themselves in a couple of moments. My name is Milica, I'm marketing manager at Fiscal Solutions and you're today's host. So hopefully we will have a great time today. Before we start, I'd like to give you some organizational points to go through retail talks and of course Fiscal Solutions, and I guess that then we should go through today's topic. I must say that Retail Talk is our live event that we hold every second Tuesday at 3 p.m. on a various topic, sometimes fiscal, sometimes Web3 topic, which is also our focus at the moment, and Ape School, Masterclass, educational projects that you can follow on our official LinkedIn page also. And I must say that this is live event, so it's streaming on LinkedIn and our YouTube channel. We experienced actually some problems with LinkedIn, so please switch to our YouTube channel if there are any problems today. I hope that there won't be, but if we have some problems, please check in the comments, and there you can find the link to our YouTube channel. Also, live event means that this whole event is recorded and it will be saved on our LinkedIn page, so you will be able to watch it as many times as you like. And I'd like, of course, to invite you to our next live event that will be on 2nd of August on one really interesting also fiscal topic. And the topic is what certification of Portugal, France, and Serbia have in common. So yes, I'm inviting you to join us in our next retail talk because it will be the same team, I think, like today, but also we will have one more guy, right, Stefan?
Yes.
Yes. So those are like our legal consultants, and I really love to spend the time with them. I think that maybe we should go through Fiscal Solutions a little bit, and then we will discover what is today's topic. Actually, we will talk a little bit about today's topic, and I will let my colleagues introduce themselves and, of course, to ask them some questions that actually I've received also from some of our clients. So let me tell firstly a few words about Fiscal Solutions. Fiscal Solutions is actually 18 years old company with more than 70 clients. And those are really huge clients, like international companies. We separate them in two categories, like retailers, international retailers, and of course POS software vendors. So you can see our references on our website. We are really proud of them, and they are our biggest proof of our hard work. We now are present in 20 countries, 20 fiscal countries. And I must add that we have 2 new countries on our portal, and those are Lithuania and Greece. And these 2 ladies are the 2 most deserving, as Nikolina is a legal specialist for Lithuania. She searched fiscal law in Lithuania up and down, and of course, Tara for Greece. So really great ladies you have today, and I guess that they will answer all your questions. I must say that Fiscal Solutions is really, we like to call it simple and transparent. And I must say that we have only 4 products, so it's really easy to catch up. First of all, we have, it's like fiscal journey. We are providing the whole fiscal journey for some fiscal project that you want to do in any of these 20 countries that we work actually in. So first of all, we have the internet portal where we actually publish documentation, news, and alerts about fiscal countries. There you can even find the official fiscal laws translated to English. So you won't even need a translator for your fiscal project. You just go and check out our fiscal portal. Second product is our workshop about country requirements, and you have it with the ladies from today's event. They are legal consultants, but also we have technical consultants, so you have the whole day with them, and after that you also have 30 days warranty to ask whatever wasn't fully clear, if there is something that wasn't fully clear. After that, we have As for Fiscal. It's our software that implements fiscal requirements of 20 countries. And at the end of the fiscal journey, we have Fiscal Help Desk. It's actually our fiscal support team that supports your local business. That would be all about Fiscal Solutions and me. And I don't want to take much of your time. And I guess it's almost like the end of your work hours. So let's move on to today's topic. But firstly, I'd like to invite Nikolina and Tara to introduce themselves. Who wants to do first? Nikolina, maybe you.
Okay, thank you, Milice. Hello, everyone. Milice, first, thank you for these kind words. It is my pleasure to be here today with you, and I must say I love to working with you, especially on these events. We have a lot of experience in this, exactly. But I am really thrilled because today we are not alone. We have one of my dearest colleagues, legal consultants, today with us, and that is Tara. So I'm really excited to present to you what we know about this, let's say, new fiscalization in Republic of Srpska. But before that, a couple of words from me. As I already said, my name is Nikolina, and I'm legal consultant in front of the Fiscal Solutions company. I work in the let's say fiscalization topics in many countries. So let's say fiscalization is something that I like to do, and something that we are doing on daily basis. I am in a company almost 2 years, and that is just a little bit about me. I'm really, let's say, thrilled to talk about today's topics, because really something big and something new is happening in Republic of Srpska really soon. So you will hear about that in today's event.
I can't wait. Actually, I have prepared so many questions for you.
I believe.
So be ready. Be ready.
Okay. Thank you.
Please tell us something more about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Milice. Hello, Nikolina. Thank you very much for this kind introduction, and also hello to all the viewers. First, I want to thank both of you for this amazing introduction and mentioning all the things that we do here at Fiscal Solutions. And I'm really thrilled that we can do this form of sharing content with our customers and potential customers, since this is one of the kind of forms that I really love doing, which means giving out information through film and through videos, especially if they're live. So thanks again. A little bit about me. As I said, my name is Tara. I am one of the legal consultants in our team in Fiscal Solutions, and currently I am the lead legal consultant on this topic, on the Republic of Srpska as a country that I'm covering, one of many that I do. And Nikolina is here to support me, and she generously wanted to be a part of this big project and wanted to help out. So thus far, she has been a really great support. And I think there is no one better to do this with, since we had one of the biggest projects behind us that successfully was completed, which is the new fiscalization in Serbia. Therefore, I'm really glad that we can do this today, and we can give more information about the upcoming changes in the Republic of Srpska, especially since new law has been published. So thanks again, ladies.
Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you both so much for the introduction. And of course, today's topic is really interesting, and I'm really thrilled to talk about this because actually we didn't talk for a long time about the Republic of Srpska, if I'm right. And I'm not sure that that's your country, I think, Tara, but like Nikolina also work on it, which is really,
Yes.
it's that actually says that it's really complex and that new changes are really important to catch up with. So firstly, I'd like to ask and to know, to give us like some information when fiscalization has started in Republic of Srpska, and to maybe tell me something about the timeline about the new law of fiscalization and in general upcoming change in Republic of Srpska. Maybe to have like that, flow about it.
Okay, thank you, Milice. I will start to let's say like some introduction before we go straight to the point, straight to the new law on fiscalization. And I need to agree with you because this is like some revolution in the fiscalization in the Republic of Srpska, because they had one system, but right now and in the future, in a really close future, it will be really different if we compare with, let's say, the old system. So I can say that fiscal regulation in Republic of Srpska started in 2008. And some, let's say, main features about that law or type of fiscalization is that it was hardware-based fiscalization. That means that fiscalization is based on the fiscal device. No software application certification was needed. Usually the GPRS devices are used for communication. And we can say that law was in the force since 2005. But of course, in the meantime, a technology which can be applied in this area significantly was advanced. And after a really big and detailed analysis of existing fiscalization system, it was found that there is a need to improve it. Of course, because we are living in this modern era, so this field of fiscalization also needed to be improved. So the Ministry of Finance has made a new law on fiscalization in order to create better conditions to suppression the gray economy and to get more effective control and better tax collection in this field. In relation to this new fiscal law, we can say that information about that was first published last year. And the new fiscal law was accepted at the National Embassy of Republic of Srpska in February of this year. And it was published first in official gazette on March 3rd, 2022. So everything is still new and everything is still, let's say, in that first phase. But we are working on it on the daily basis and really hard to get in compliance with that new regulations. Also, the plan for going live is not specified yet. So we expect that rule book that will be published really soon. Because by that new law, authorities need to publish also different important rule books. And they said it will be 6 months from the date of when the law fiscalization is published. And we are thrilled and we are waiting for that additional rule books, which can clarify a lot of different issues in this field. Also, in 4th of June of this year, we have 3 published rule books. It is rule books regarding fiscal receipt, a rule book on the delivery of data and the generation of designation of business premises. Don't you worry, Tara will explain what that means. And a rule book about approval of use and register of element on the electrical device. So a lot of different rule books, a lot of different new words and requirements, but we will explain to you on today's presentation in some general terms what are, let's say, main requirements. So to summarize, yet it is not known everything in full timeline. We expect rule books and other regulations, especially in technical term, which we will monitor, of course. As Milica already said, we have a technical persons who are in charge of it. So please stay tuned with us and we will cover all that fiscalization novelty in Republic of Srpska.
Yes, of course. I must add that there is always like if I could say, like trepidation when talking about change, especially when we talk about change in the law, and especially when we are talking about the retailers and huge international systems that have to adapt to it.
Yes.
So definitely, it's really important to hear about these changes at the very beginning, so you can plan the whole project in the future on time, of course.
Yes, I agree.
So I have like one question about those upcoming changes. First of all, I'd like to maybe ask Tara, because you mentioned that she will discover what actually does the new fiscal law bring to Republic of Srpska, and who are the subjects of the new fiscalization in Republic of Srpska.
Okay, thank you, Milica, for this question. This is actually the basis of the whole system and the whole changes. Just like Nikolina said, the new law was published in the beginning of March, and this new law brings many changes. Actually, it brings a completely new fiscal system to this country, which is drastically different from the one existing right now. And for starters, the new law on fiscalization covers many different topics regarding the fiscalization process, which we will discuss a little bit more later. And some of them we will be talking about today in more details, and others we will just mention, since we don't have that much time, but many of those topics are really important. So firstly, one of the most important topics is who are the subjects of the upcoming fiscalization. Therefore, who are those new taxpayers who is going to need to have the new fiscal devices, and how can they use them. Also, what processes are going to be fiscal in the new fiscalization model. Since not all are going to be fiscalized. When we look at the previous model, there are also some new transactions that didn't exist before. Some other topics will include main elements of the new fiscal system, as well as the main components and obligatory elements of each of the fiscal receipts. And what is important to note is that the new law is going to replace the long-lasting previous law on fiscal cash registers. That law was in force for many years, since 2008 to be exact. And this new law is bringing a whole new fiscalization model to this country. One of the topics also that is covered in the law is the communication channel to the tax authorities. So that is the way how the data is going to be needed to be exported to the tax authorities, and that will be the online communication. What is important to know is that based on the new law in this country, there will be a change from hardware-based fiscal model, just like Nikolina mentioned, to the, we can say, combined or even a hybrid model of fiscalization, which will include both hardware and software requirements. And it will lead to completely new fiscal devices, and those would be the electronic fiscal devices consisting of new elements that need to comply to the new requirements. And also we'll be talking about the new devices and what do they need to have and how they can be used. What is important is that these devices consist of elements that will need to be previously approved by the tax authorities in Republic of Srpska. So let's get back to the first topic that we mentioned, and for me to answer your question, which is who is going to be the obligator of new fiscalization and what is the scope of the new law. So the new law is has a quite a wide range of subjects that it refers to. The obligators of fiscalization are each subject in this country that is performing trade. So actually those are all subjects in Republic of Srpska who are selling some goods or giving some services. And all of them need to fiscalize their sales, except for those that will be particularly exempt by another special regulation. So this other regulation will be a decree, which is not yet published and not yet issued, but in this this document, there will be specifically noted which kind of activities or subjects are not going to need electronic fiscal devices and will not need to perform sales in such a way so they don't need to be fiscalized. When talking about type of trade that is a subject of fiscalization, this is also interesting because in Republic of Srpska, each seller, everyone who is doing trade in this country, both a retailer and those who do wholesale, would need to fiscalize their sales, which is not so specific for some other countries. And also what is important is that this new law includes advance sales, so the advance payments as fiscal transactions as well, which is something that is not specific for all countries and something that we can say is important. Other topics that are covered in the law are also what are the main components of the new fiscal system. There are actually 4 components. Other topics would be what are the elements of fiscal receipts, what are the elements that are obligatory for each electronic fiscal device. And we can say that according to the law and according to the accompanying rule books, those would be firstly the electronic system for issuing receipts, then the particular processor of fiscal receipts that is suitable for that fiscal device, as well as the accompanying secure element. All of these components are completely different and completely new when we actually compare this kind of device to the current practice existing in this country when it comes to the fiscal devices that are now used prior to the new fiscal model. And also, we can say that the law covers many other different topics, such as the certification obligation, also who could be the suppliers of these new devices. The new law also introduces some new elements of the fiscal system, such as the operator of the fiscal system, who did not exist in the previous system and which is something that is specific for this country. Some of the other topics that it also covers is what are some of the procedures that need to be followed in order to get to the new fiscal model, what are the procedures that are going to be performed in case of inspections and audits. And also the new fiscalization in Republic of Srpska brings the possibility of the customers themselves to check fiscal receipts, as well as for inspectors and some other entities and subjects to be able to do that by simply scanning one of the elements of the fiscal receipt, and that is the QR code that would need to be present on each receipt. And also the law brings some of the information regarding the new timeline. And actually what it states is that the deadline for the transition and the grace period are yet to be announced. And just like my colleague said, they're still not known. But in the upcoming months, it is expected that the rule book defining the deadline and the transition process will be published and known for everyone. And lastly, even though the law text itself is published and is final, and formally speaking, it has it is now in force. This law is not still applied and not going to be applied until all the accompanying documents are published and until the grace period and transition process are known, and they will be published by, as the tax authorities stated, by the mid-September, we can say. And then the official timeline, we hope, will be known, so we can talk about more of that later and give further details regarding the transition process itself.
Okay, thank you so much. Is it me? But I think that there is a lot of change that is happening. And
yes.
Like at the end, you finished with, that's not all, we are waiting, like more regulations.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
Those laws, I can't even. I can only imagine what retailers have to go through to do all of that stuff. And I can only imagine your hard work to explain every of these regulations, the receipts, and stuff like that. When we talk about the new actually the change in fiscal laws of certain countries, especially at this moment about Republic of Srpska. Tara, you mentioned that they actually announced that they will have some new elements, secure elements and stuff like that. So I think maybe that it would be great to cover that, to tell me maybe what are main elements of the new fiscalization system in Republic of Srpska, and to hear a little bit about it.
Okay, I will cover that part.
Okay.
So yes, Milica, your opinion is really at the point, because as I already said, a lot of different requirements is introduced, and Tara mentioned about that new 4 elements of the fiscalization. So now I will explain in general terms what are these main elements and main requirements of this. As Tara already said, we have 4 main elements. It is fiscalization management system, we have fiscal receipt processor, we have cash register application, and we have secure element. In general, for fiscalization management system, we can say that that is a system which is completely under the control of the tax authorities, and it works like one platform, like one big service of tax authorities. And the main functionalities is that it serves like service for reception, verification, and analysis of fiscal data, for archiving receipt transaction. There you can find some information and documentation in relation to that processor or the fiscal receipt. It is also electronic invoicing system management. It can be used like portal for taxpayers, for processor of fiscal receipt suppliers, and a lot of different, let's say, functionalities that, let's say, fiscalization management system will contain. Number 2, for fiscal receipt processor, we can say, and it is defined as a hardware or software element, and we can say that he is responsible for the fiscalization. In other words, we can say that fiscal receipt processor is in charge for receipt fiscalization, for calculating taxes, for creation of fiscal data which needs to be present on fiscal receipt. It is also in charge for communication with secure element and cash register application. Also, of course, communication with the tax authority system and transaction storage. So all of this is really new in the fiscalization system in Republic of Srpska. About that fiscal receipt processor, only in general, I will tell you that we have 2 options for it. We have virtual processor of fiscal receipts and local processor of fiscal receipt. And both of them requires some, let's say, special rules, and they can be used in a different situation, but that will be covered a little bit later, and also with another rule books that we are expecting to be published. Couple of words about the third, let's say, element. It is cash register application, and it can be also hardware or software element, and it is used to capture transaction data and, of course, to print receipt. It communicates, of course, with the processor or the fiscal receipts in order to fiscalize that receipt. And, of course, that fiscal receipt must be made according to legal and technical requirements. Fourth and last element of this new system is secure element. It is hardware, like in smart card, or software-based, let's say, file, which is provided by the tax authorities. And secure element is assigned to a particular retailer on their request, and it is related to just one business location or store. And of course, it has some functionalities. It is independent, let's say, element from the processor of the fiscal receipt and other elements, and he must be located in the store if it's hardware based. Of course, it needs to be secured from the unauthorized change. He maintains fiscal totalizers, fiscal counters, so a lot of different, let's say, possibilities, and also enables, let's say, identification of the particular taxpayer according at different services. That is, let's say, in general of these
Sorry for interrupting you. I just is it like, am I like understanding right? But it reminds me of the fiscalization in Serbia, right?
Yes,
Like
yes,
secure
Milice.
elements, virtual and local, right? I mean, it's
Yes,
really similar, but like, do we
yes.
have some? I guess that we have some differences between. Is it more complex or less complex? How do you see it?
It is pretty much similar. Tara will explain now about some details, but we can say it really looks like fiscalization in Serbia, but we need to be careful because it is not completely the same. We will have some
Okay.
differentiation and also some rules, but for this element, we can say from this perspective, it is pretty similar because they are, as Tara already said, combined software or hardware-based fiscalization. So it is
Yeah.
really, like, say, complex. So good point, Milice.
Yes. Okay. I
Yes.
can hear it. I'm listening to you like really carefully, and it really reminds me of.
Yes.
Okay. Did I interrupt you? Did you want to say something else?
It was all of me because of regarding of main elements of new fiscalization. So I think that it is enough in this, let's say, brief introduction of it.
Yeah, because I have also now one really interesting question. And of course, Tara, if you want to answer to my previous question about the fiscalization in Serbia, you can. I just wanted to ask, firstly, when we talk about fiscalization in general, we always come to that one point, and that is certification process. And somehow certification seems like it's always, almost always, I should say very often, really complex process in a lot of countries. For example, France, Albania, and I don't know, a lot of other countries. So I'd like to know, maybe, are there some certification requirements in new fiscal model? And if they exist, if you can give me more insight regarding the elements that need to be certified. And of course, I'd like to know what would be the procedure. And of course, if you wanted to add something to the previous question, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Milica. I didn't want to interrupt the flow, so I waited. But yes, just like Nikolina said, I will just return back to that previous question. It is
Okay.
quite similar on the baseline with Serbia, and it has many similar, we can say, most important elements and some basic structures, but a lot of the things are unknown yet and can go in a different direction in time, since there are many different documents, especially technical documents, regarding the architecture of the devices, the way of the communication with the tax authorities, different solutions. They are not yet published and they're not yet known, and there is quite a possibility for even a more complex system than in Serbia, since we can say that Serbia is one of the, maybe not the most complex, but one of those that are more complex, since first of all, it is a hybrid kind. It has both software requirements and hardware requirements, and we can say a certification procedure that is quite complex. And also Republic of Srpska will have, based on the current information, also the certification procedure will not be as simple as maybe it is thought, but also some elements that don't exist in Serbia, which we'll maybe talk about a little bit further. And as for the second question regarding the certification process, yes, that is usually one of the most asked questions and one of the most interesting topics for many of our clients, since they will not be able to work in a particular country and to stay compliant if they don't certify their solutions and if they don't continue working according to the law in this field. And so I will talk more about firstly the elements that need to be certified, and then about the procedure and other components.
Okay.
So first of all, just a brief overview. In the previous law, there were no software components that needed to be certified. So there was no requirement for that. There was the fiscal device, which was fiscal printer or the ECR device that needed to be certified solution, as well as the driver that was connected to that device. But in the new regulations, especially in the new law, there is a need for the new electronic fiscal device with new components and as well as some new requirements for the certification. So first of all, the certification obligation exists for the two components that are part of the electronic fiscal device, and those are we mentioned it before, the electronic system for a receipt, for issuing receipts. So that is the ESIR, as we call it shortly, as well as the second element that needs to be certified is the local processor of the fiscal receipts. As you may remember, Nikolina said that there are two types of this processor of fiscal receipts. One is the virtual processor, and the other one is the local processor of the fiscal receipts. And this other one needs to be certified since it is produced by the suppliers, actually it's produced by not by the government or the tax authorities, but by the private companies. Unlike the virtual processor of fiscal receipts, which is provided by the tax authorities. But there are some specific rules in the Republic of Srpska when you would be able to use the virtual processor, but that is a whole other topic that will last quite long. So I will get back to the certification process. When we're talking about the application for the certification process itself, first of all, according to the law, the application will need to be sent to the tax authorities for the certain product that the applicant wants to certify. So he would be able to certify one product or more products, but in each case, for each product, he would need to apply for the certification separately to the tax authorities, and they would need to do that by sending the application online to the special tax authorities portal, with more details on how this is done. There will be many different documents, especially technical guide that will provide details on the certification procedure itself. As for the one who is the authorized entity for the certification process, that would be the tax authorities in Republic of Srpska. They are the one deciding on your application, and they will also provide the relevant technical documentation that will need to be followed for this process to be done smoothly and for the certification process to be completed well. And for now, for the regulations that are known, first we have, of course, the law on fiscalization, which only mentions briefly what are the certification requirements and what elements need to be certified. But later on, there was another document that was published, and that is the rule book on approval, usage, and registry of elements of electronic fiscal devices, which provides more information regarding the certification procedure and also regarding some of the baseline requirements that would be needed in this process. As for the applicants themselves, there are some specific rules that are actually different from some other countries, especially from Serbia. So that is something that would need to be paid attention to in this sense. There are two different types of possible applicants for certifying their products, and they are not, we can say, they're not the same. They have to comply with different rules, and they would need to be able to have different we can say requirements met in order to apply. So firstly, there are the suppliers, and those would be the suppliers of ESIR, so the electronic system for issuing receipts. They would be the first type of applicant. And secondly, there are the operators of fiscal system. They could apply for certification of both the ESIR and also the local processor of fiscal receipts. What this actually means is that only the operator of fiscal system would be able to certify any of the products that are going, any of the elements of electronic fiscal device. So both the local processor of fiscal receipts and the ESIR product. Unlike him, suppliers would be able to certify ESIR component, but not the local processor of fiscal receipts. Also, both of them, both the suppliers and the operators, would need to meet certain specific conditions to be able to apply for certification. And some of those conditions, and firstly to appear on the market as operator and supplier, they are mentioned in the law on fiscalization. But there is also another document that is eagerly awaited, which is the rule book that will give more information on the operator of the fiscal systems, how they can comply to all the necessary requirements, what would be the procedure that they would need to do in order to gain the status of the operator of the fiscal system, and then they would be able to apply for certification. Also, not to go into further detail because there is so many important information here, I just wanted to say a little bit about those who perform the approval procedure and some basic steps. So firstly, as I mentioned, the tax authorities they are the ones who conduct the approval procedure, who decide, and who can also revoke the decision of the certified products. In case of any changes, there would of course need to be the recertification process done. And we can say that for now, what is known is that the main steps include first the preparation of all the relevant documents accompanying the component that is certified. That can be a software or a hardware component. Also, the requests for each product, and also there would probably be different kinds of tests and different kinds of more detailed questionnaires that would need to be filled out and done according to the technical documentation. But since there is no technical documentation published yet, especially the technical guide, that would be the first of those documents, we still don't have further details regarding the specifics of, let's say, for each product, for each of those products, what would be needed. But what is maybe important also to say that the tax authorities have mentioned that all of this documentation will be published officially on their website, and they will be known for anyone who wants to read them, not just the applicants. Also, each new version would need to be published accordingly and need to be followed in the certification process. And lastly, we can say that there are many steps and many information that will need to be covered in this process, and it will probably be even more complex than the one in Serbia. And for now, the requirements regarding, for example, receipt examples, some specifics and specifics regarding architecture and detailed information of the process itself are not yet known. So that would be maybe what, in short, it's not so short, but yeah.
In short, yes.
In short, yeah, in short. Yeah, I would like to add that I think like every information regarding the certification is really important, like literally every information. And I think that we could talk about it until tomorrow if we actually go into details. So, like you started with the answer about the certification, and that issue of certification was immediately divided: suppliers, operators. So really crazy. But I have one question about one more thing that is really, really important and interesting to hear when it comes to new fiscal law change. And that question is how communication with tax authorities managed in new fiscalization system, of course, and of course how data exchange is handled. So like that communication with tax authorities is always interesting to handle. I would like to hear more about it, definitely.
Yes, Milica, it is a great question, and thank you for it. I believe that our listeners also want to know how that is handled, because that represents one of the main, let's say, novelties in this system. Of course, everything is new, but this is something I believe that attention is really up to it. So if we compare current and, let's say, old fiscal law with this, let's say, new, sending data in the old system was managed by GPRS via fiscal devices, but this system was not so, let's say, convenient for control by the authorities. And that is why they introduced a new system to get the better control. So, and that is, let's say, of course, to fight against gray economy. And that was, as I already said, main reason for introduction this whole new system. So this new system, I can say that established the communication with the tax authority in real time. More precisely, in this new system, communication and exchange of data between electronic fiscal device and tax authority system is obligatory. So data needs to be sent in real time in the moment of sale of goods or providing services. What that means? That means that every time when there is a sale of some item or providing some services, receipt must be transmitted to the tax authority system in real time. Also rules, especially legal ones, and they will be of course managed in the more detailed way when technical guidance and technical regulations will be known. But right now rules define that in scenarios when there is no internet access, all data soon or a little bit later will need to be sent to a tax authority. So that offline scenario will be defined also, but it will be required for seller or retailer to have an internet connection to being compiled with main regulations. Also, tax authority, because all of that platform that I already told you about, will have a full control and accessibility of the sales data. Of course, all the data must be secured, must be authentic, based on the exchange of some private and public keys, but I'm not a technical person, so I will not, let's say, go in more detail in this field.
Can we invite them? Can we invite our technical consultants?
Yes, Milica, I think it will be great, maybe in a couple of months, to maybe ask them to join us, because of course there is that their field. We are legal persons, not technical, but I could say that we are also a little bit in the technical field, also really, let's say, get some knowledge. So we are, let's say, mixed it up like a legal and technical persons, but of course legal is our base. Also, just a couple of words, we can say that this is something that is really new, and is of the main, let's say, novelties and elements of the new system, so that data needs to be fiscalized and needs to be sent to the tax authority. So retailers need to prepare for the, let's say, more control by the authorities for every, let's say, sale that they provide or service that they provide. So that is just a little bit, as Tara said in a couple of words, about the communication with the tax authority. Yes.
Yeah, we try to keep it short, but it's not so easy when there's so much to share, but we need to do that. So yeah.
When there is so much knowledge also.
No, thank you. I always love to hear it, because I know it will be like in detail. And you are sure about what are you talking. So it's really important. And I think it's really, really valuable information that you gave us. I also hear that like sending data in real time is also a new trend, right? That has been spreading lately. And here it's now also in the Republic of Srpska. So it is very interesting to talk about it, especially when we make a small comparison with other countries. You know, Serbia also has sending data to tax authorities in real time, and a lot of other countries. And definitely, I think it's a huge trend right now at the moment.
Yes,
secure elements also, and you know. So it's really important to talk about it, because every country, maybe they have some, they are like introducing some trends, but definitely they have different, like, how I should say, regulations and how they do it. So it's really important to cover that. Yeah. So thank you, because you were really, really clever. So beside that, I'd like to also ask if there are some specific requirements defined regarding store registration and informing tax authorities about working with new devices.
Really good question.
Yes, thank you, Milica. That is a really important question, especially since there are many rules regarding this topic in the new fiscal law, and actually referred from the new fiscal law to the new rule books that cover this topic. So the novelties regarding store registration include doing certain steps and making certain notifications to the tax authorities that are a part of keeping track of all the work for the subjects of fiscalization, all trade that they are doing. And among different requirements, it is important to discuss this new obligation of store registration, which is something that needs to be done before many other steps when transitioning to new fiscalization, and also when starting sales in each store later on. Firstly, prior to being able to do certain other steps, which I will be talking about a little bit further, as a part of preparation to start sales in each store, each retailer and wholesaler, everyone who is the obligator of actually of the new fiscalization in Republic of Srpska will need to register their stores. And for this purpose, the tax authorities and actually the government in the Republic of Srpska have publicly announced one new rule book that defines the procedure for getting the unique designation of business premises, as they call it. It is actually what it means is the store from which the entity is doing sales. And this new rule book gives much more detailed information about this obligation. So when we talk about store registration, according to this rule book, which is officially known as the rule book on delivering of the data for the generation of the designation of business premises, there are going to be four store types in this new fiscal model. And those types include first the stationary store or the fixed store type, then secondly mobile store type. The third type is a remote store type, which would be a type used for registering distance sales, so for especially for online sales, which is something that is most understood. And also the fourth type would be the vending type, or the store type that is used when performing sales from vending machines and other self-charging solutions. When we're talking about these store types, they are first, there's an overview given in this new document on how to perform the procedure of registration. And in that sense, it is explained for what kind of sales each store would be registered. So first, when we talk about the stationary store or the fixed store type, this is the most regular store type, which most of the sellers would be using. That is basically the store in the immovable object in a certain facility. Also, there are other store types that we mentioned, the mobile store type and remote store type, which I won't go in further detail here. And the fourth type is sales created using vending machines. So in cases that you're using a self-charging device, such as a vending machine, which is important since previously to this new law, vending machine sales wasn't fiscalized. So it starts the fiscalization of the vending machine starts with this new law. Also, just briefly for the main steps of store registration, the stores would need to be registered online on the Special Tax Authorities portal, following particular steps and entering a specific data while doing so. There are many different information and data that would need to be entered for the store registration, but some of the basics would be information about the company, as well as information on the address and some other data on the stores. But this rulebook also provides more details about some specifics, which are kind of different for instance, between this country and Serbia, since Serbia also has the store registration obligation, but it is a bit different here, and there are more strict requirements in Republic of Srpska, as we know so far. Also, as I said previously, some processes are that need to be done in the new fiscal model are dependent on store registration. So first, this obligation must be performed either way, but also in order for each taxpayer to be able to, for instance, order a secure element or be able to activate his electronic fiscal device, he would firstly need to register a particular store in which he would want to perform sales. And maybe lastly, for some more detailed data on the process itself and what are the particular information that are needed for each store, there will possibly be new documents that are expected soon in the, let's say, upcoming 3 to 6 months, but maybe even further along. Maybe some user manual, such as in similar countries, that will explain have a more detailed explanation of the procedure of how this is done, and also what are some of the differences. And maybe just to mention here that also not just the first time when you're starting sales, you would need to do a registration and notification to the tax authorities of your starting sales in that store, but also you would need to register each change happening on the store itself.
Okay, thank you so much. Definitely complex topic. Thank you, Tara, so much. I have 2 more questions, and then we will come to an end. My next question would be, does law defines what are like mandatory elements of the fiscal receipt? And of course, if it does, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, Milice. I really like these questions because they are strict to the, let's say, the maybe most important features of this, let's say, new fiscalization. It is, of course, fiscal receipt. As already said, fiscal receipt must be issued. And yes, the answer is yes. New law on fiscalization defines what are mandatory elements of the fiscal receipt. So that is something that needs to be present on the receipt, and there are no, let's say, other freedom. Probably the appearance of the fiscal receipt can look different, but elements which are defined by the law need to be present on the fiscal receipt. Just in general, I promise I will be really short in this time. We will need to have some information of the receipt type, of the transaction type. Yes, they are not the same things. Of course, some regular elements like name of the taxpayer, also that unique designation of the business premises, which Tara explained a little bit about that, tax identification number or GIB, which is a little bit different, special, let's say, name in the Republic of Srpska, or tax identification number of legal entity if the buyer is a legal entity. Then about item informations, we will need to have specification of tax rates and amount of tax according to the tax rates, of course, total amount of the tax, total amount of the receipt, a total payment specification. So also our novelties in that field also. So we can say that those are, let's say, regular elements of the fiscal receipts, but we have some new, such as unique designation of the fiscal receipt. We will have a time of processing a fiscal receipt, which is PFR time. That means time of processing that fiscal receipt, and needs to be stated like day, month, year, hour, minute, and even second of compiling the fiscal receipt. Also, we will need to have a fiscal receipt ID, fiscal counters, one for all transactions, or one per transaction and per receipt type. We will have a unique ESER operator mark or operator ID. Also, we will have a QR code or a hyperlink for an e-receipt. So e-receipts will be something really new, and I believe really interesting for our listeners and our clients and sellers in general. Also, it will need to be some reference to the number of another fiscal receipt in case of return, maybe. So these are, let's say, really general, some elements that needs to be included. I know of every this element we can say it is a special rules, but in general we can say pretty much similar as it was before, with additional and really important marks, or let's say statements that needs to be present on the fiscal receipt. So fiscal receipt will look different if we compare with the current law on fiscalization. So Milica, I believe that I have answered you. In general terms, I already said that it is really hard to generalize all of this, but we don't have more time. But I think in general, I explained what are the main elements of the fiscal receipt.
Yes, you did. You did it really well. Thank you so much. And I must add that I'm really, how I should say, I would like to know how those receipts are looking like. So can't wait to see that. And that is definitely one huge step for the future. Yeah, I hope that a lot of other new fiscal systems and laws will bring that to them also.
Yes, it is a trend, let's say, in Europe of these, let's say, novelties. Yes,
Yeah, you say
yes.
it's a trend. Yeah, actually, we were the Eurocities at Düsseldorf, and there we had e-receipts as some new trends and something that will
Yes.
definitely like put the how I should say
Paper receipts, let's say, in the
signature
past.
stamp. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the stamp of the future or like signature. You
Yes.
know. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
definitely. Thank you, Nikolina, so much. And I would like to maybe ask Tara. I like to finish my live events with your personal opinion. And I would like to ask you to give us some insights and your predictions for the upcoming period. What do you expect? And to maybe make some conclusions. And I think that will be enough for today.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Milice, really
The stage is
for
all
this.
yours.
Yes, thank you. I will be the one to conclude. So thank you very much. So yes, first, let me just say that as we mentioned throughout this retail talk, many of the details that will be known in the future, they're not yet announced by the authorities. The information that we gathered is based on thorough research from many different channels, not just using the public rule books and law, but also different kinds of research and information gathering. What are some of the latest news is that there are some predictions. First of all, there will be a certain public call for creating new fiscal devices and also for those who are interested in being the operators or suppliers of new fiscal devices. Also, there are some speculations regarding certain kinds of maybe financial support or some kind of different ways to help out the taxpayers to transition to the new model. There will also be different, more detailed information regarding how long will the transition process last and how will it be done. And also the latest information say that the technical documents will be the ones that define details on possible devices, on their types, architectures, on exact receipt layout, which is not yet known, also the usage of different elements and the communication and how the transactions are going to be precisely sent to the tax authorities. As for the topic that is probably really interesting to most of our clients and those who would like to work with us on this topic in the future, is that they need to have more information regarding the grace period and the length of the transition to the new model. So what is known right now is that a particular rule book that is going to be published in the upcoming months will give more information on the transitioning period, and also some of the information that is known for now and that are the predictions is that somewhere in the first half of next year, so 2023, there will be that will be probably the period of implementation of this new model, but it is unsure yet. There are many more information that are awaited for this to be known and to be official, and also some of the information have stated that also need to be checked and confirmed by the tax authorities, is that there will be different phases and steps of transitioning, and that this period will probably last a few months or even more. So it will not happen overnight. It will be a gradual process. And lastly, we can say that probably many of these predictions will come true, and many more details will be yet known. As the tax authorities have stated in the upcoming months, so in August and September, maybe first deadlines will be published. And for now, all of these predictions are we can say just that they're not official, but regarding the deadlines, I mean, but they are going to be known in the future. What is also important to say is that this is certainly going to be a big transition, a big and a challenging process, and we believe that by starting not just a few months but almost 6 months early to the first important documents and the first regulations, other than the law on fiscalization, we are certainly going to have enough information and be always in we can say, on time and giving you the precise and relevant information before the changes are to occur, so you can prepare for the new fiscalization.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Like so much. The both of you were great, actually. And
Thank
in
you.
the end, of
You too.
course,
Thank you, Milica. Yes,
thank you.
it
Thank
was a
you so
pleasure.
much. Thank you so much. I'm actually really happy to have this theme like this, and to have retail talks and live events. So thank you so much, especially for your time. In the end, of course, I would like to thank everyone who listened to us today. And of course, to you girls, once again, for taking your time and answering all the questions, the most important questions regarding the new fiscal law in the Republic of Srpska. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact Tara and Nikolina. You can find their LinkedIn profiles in the comments. And of course, if you want to know some more information, you can look for it on our fiscal portal. The link is also in the comments, and these two great girls are like working on the update every single day. So
Yes.
I think that will be all for today, as we have no questions at the moment. Maybe we will receive some later when we finish. Thanks everyone once again, and until next time, which is on the 2nd of August. Bye.
Yes. We'll be
Bye
back
bye,
soon.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Milica, as well.
Thank you.